Hi there, beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel. Well, I say welcome back, but welcome to anyone new as well. I wanted to do this video because I'm not going to go into detail because either you know or you don't, and if you don't, if you're watching pretty close to when this is coming out, then I'm guessing you've been a little bit on the other side of the moon. However, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's all good. The thing is, there is energies and frequencies happening in the world right now that I kind of felt we could need a little something to, if not smile about, then something to bring us comfort, bring us some sort of hope, some sort of peace of mind, or just simply something to sort of get us a little bit centered and relaxed again. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to use these crystals. I'm going to do a little bit differently than I tend to do. I'm pretty much just going by what I feel is right. So today I'm going to use crystals. And with those crystals, there's going to be some cards that it comes from this deck here. And I'm going to take 3 cards. And it's funny because I've actually just started sort of getting into a flow where I just do a reading and either you connect or you don't. But I feel like it seems right that this should have 3 choices. So at first, you can either choose to connect with the crystals. Then I pull the cards for each crystal. And maybe you remain with that crystal, maybe you don't. Just follow your intuition, follow what seems right, follow that thing that kind of keeps drawing your attention in. Once we've done that, then we're going to use this deck to sort of look at, I'm not necessarily going to say look at the past, but it can look being something like looking into what's lying beneath the surface. What am I not seeing? Stuff like that. Things that are kind of leading up to the key card in some sense. Then we're going to get our comfort, our relaxation from this beautiful deck by Chris Ann. Um, Extremely colorful, very, very well executed. It's the Muse Tarot, and I kind of feel like this is a time where there's a lot of people out there that could use a little getting in touch with their muse. So I'm hoping that this reading could guide you in that sense. But let's take a look at the crystals first. Yes, we're going to put them in this order. First, we have the Caribbean calcite with an ever so slight hue of blue. It's a raw crystal, shedding a little bit. So that's a Caribbean calcite, and that is going to be for the pile 1. Then we have the green jade. Now, I'm not sure if the camera picks up on this, but this jade is just, it has this depth to it, and I'm not sure if the camera actually picks it up, but I hope it does. But apple green jade, that is for pile 2. And for pile 3, we have another calcite, the blue calcite, with a more skyish blue kind of thing. Also a raw but somewhat polished form. So that is the pile 3. Now I'm going to start shuffling the cards here. And while I shuffle, uh, take the time to just, tune into the crystals. Is one of them speaking more to you or drawing you more in than the other? It may change once you see the cards. We never know that, or it may just simply remain the same. It kind of depends on how people want to connect. For my own part, I can connect in several ways. I can use both. I can use one or I can use the other. It's funny, for some reason this doesn't feel right. I think I'm going to draw 2, actually, for this one. So, another card for the Caribbean calcite, please. Thank you. Now, bear in mind, they have different backgrounds. I actually think that I never used the books that comes along with the decks, but I think it had something to do with, sort of the theme of each color. So that's the reason why I'm not shuffling several decks at a time. It's just the same deck with different backgrounds. Kind of like the tea leaves, if you know them. Can we have a card for the green jade? Key card for the green jade, please. And a card for the blue calcite. Right. I'm just going to put this aside. That feels right for now. We can always pull it back in if we need to. So, if you were attached to the Caribbean calcite, you have soothed as your card. Let me just pull it up for you here. May you settle gently even as the wave breaks above. That is the card for pile 1. For pile 2 and the green jade, we have release. May you lay down your burdens. And for pile 3 and the blue calcite, we have enough. May you be exactly as you are. I feel like we're having an overall theme with this card. So I actually think this card belongs to all of them. It's sort of like the backdrop, the scenery of the readings. Well, you couldn't write it, could you? I just said I wanted to make a little bit more joy and smile. This is a card of joy. May you pursue what lights you up. Actually, I wasn't talking about joy. I was talking about comfort and relaxation. How can I put this in here? I'm going to figure out how to put it in the actual reading so we get them in each and every one. May you pursue what lights you up. That, my friends, is going to be our background. Right. So, let's see if we can just scooch them in for a little bit. Can we? Yes, we can. There we go. I'm going to let the camera running for a bit, and this is for all the readings, but pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, and I'm going to let you just sit with them for a moment. And remember, I always put timestamps in the bottom and the description, so you can always find the exact reading that you feel belongs to you. And if you're drawn to multiple readings, then that is okay too. But I'm going to let you sit with them for a little while. Hi there, Pile 1. So, welcome to your reading first and foremost. We have your card Soothed. May you gently, even as the wave. May you settle gently, sorry. May you settle gently, even as the wave breaks above. And we have our reading card Joy. May you pursue what lights you up. And you're guided also by the Caribbean calcite. I'm going to place it up here for a little bit. And let's look into what lies beneath the surface here. I'm going to draw 4 cards and we'll see what comes through. No? Okay. It's funny how cards can resist. You think you got it, but then you don't. It's like they don't want to release themselves from the pack. Thank you. And that one. Right. So, your 4 cards from the Terror of the Abyss. We have the Magician. And we have Justice. Oh, wow. And we have the Lovers. Those are big cards. Really, really big cards. And we have the Queen of Swords. Okay. Now let me just check if you have them all in the frame. Yeah, you do. The funny thing is, right now, I'm not even noticing the pictures. I'm noticing 1, and then we have 11, 1, 1, and then we have 6, the card of lovers, and queens that not in traditional tarot setting, because the queen is usually 13, but in a traditional playing card pack that was actually at a time used for readings as well, it was 12. So there's kind of like this symmetry going on. What I am picking up is the 111, kind of this emphasis on new beginnings. And it's sort of like well, not imbalance per se, but sort of this having to make a choice, but it's kind of hard to decipher which path to take. And I'm getting the sense with the magician can have 2 sort of traditional meanings. One is the manifesting, and the other is kind of this trickster energy. For me personally, magician is not about a trickster energy. I'm finding that with the devil card. However, there is something going on here that is kind of hard to put a finger on. I'm kind of looking into this and kind of like, okay, well, you're underneath the surface, everything's calm, and you're trying to get up above the surface, and then just waves are just pushing you around. It's sort of like this in between state where you're having to make a choice and thinking really hard about it. And yet, for some reason, it's kind of not, it's not really manifesting. It's not really coming through in a sense. It's kind of sort of really like a stuck energy. Queen of Swords is usually, when I meet the Queen of Swords in readings, I'm almost always getting this very intelligent energy, kind of this looking straight through things. There's no bullshit, pardon my language, and stuff like that. But with this particular card and this particular reading, I'm kind of getting this energy of overthinking, of trying to figure something out that is not really meant to be figured out, but maybe rather felt, maybe rather being sat with, I think it is. Sorry. English is not my first language, so bear with me if I'm messing up the grammar. So there is some sort of coverage. What is this? I'm getting anchor, and I don't know if it is an anchor, but look at her eyes. Kind of like seeing little anchors in here. Can we take a time to just appreciate the artwork of this deck? It's absolutely amazing. Are you needing to set anchor with something? There is something confusing. There's something roots thing. We're having roots. We're having lots of that wavy kind of root feeling. I want to ask you if you feel rootless. Are you feeling like you're just being pushed around in the water? Kind of, by circumstance, really. Getting lost at sea and not really knowing which way to go, which direction to start swimming. And this being big cards, or at least 3 of them being major arcana cards, I'm going to say this is something that for the majority of you is going to be kind of a pattern. It's going to be something that has followed you along for a while. So, given the circumstance that I'm actually doing this reading on in the sort of aftermath of certain political events in the world today, whatever you're feeling in that connection, I'm going to say that all of that emotion is not connected to the political event itself. It's connected to something. It's triggering some kind of, I want to say, insecurity. I want to say a sense of not belonging. Even though you've tried, you've really, really tried your best to belong or to sort of set anchor, but for some reason it hasn't really panned out. May you settle gently even as the wave breaks above. Yes. We're going to get the other cards here. I'm a little bit concerned if we can have all of them, can we? I think we can. So we're diving into kind of the solution phase or the advice phase or guidance phase, depending on what comes through and how you connect with this energy. Can we get some guidance to the issue at hand for my pile 1, please? Yes, thank you. Thank you. Nope. You want to come too? Okay. Right. So, let's do them in this order. We have the Death card. Speaking of number 13, we have the Eight of Voices. And then we have the Fool. Just pull it up here for you. And we have the Wheel. Right. And are they fitting in here? I think they are. So, may you settle gently even as the wave breaks above. In order to do that, you're going to have to release something. Release anchor, I want to say. You are carrying something. You are carrying something of a tremendous load. And even though you're trying to settle, you're trying to sort of, I want to say manifest a new beginning, but you can't really do that unless you let something go. Unless you release the anchor. That heavy weight that is taking a toll on you. And we are getting this stuck kind of sensation here, but usually Voices is the deck of the swords in the Muse Tarot. Let me just pull it up here. And usually this is a card of being stuck. But not being stuck in the sense where you can't get out. Being stuck in a sense where you can't see your way out. Right. But the thing is, there's kind of this illumination going on as well. Kind of this, what do we call it? Light being shed down, but it could also go the other way. Kind of a communication. Funny with the voices, actually. The thing about calcite is that calcite as a crystal group not specifically only the Caribbean calcite, but calcite as a group kind of has this um, elimination of blockages. Block. What's the word? Blockages. Blocks. Let me. Okay, I'm gonna go with blocks because I can't really remember how to pronounce the other one. So calcite has this kind of elimination of whatever it is that's holding us back. And there is an anchor. Usually we say that to release anchor is kind of what's settling us, and that is what the card is speaking about. But when you think of an anchor, I mean the massiveness of an anchor, and try to imagine carrying that around. It's also quite the heavy burden, and just holding that weight could make you stuck. Whereas if you put it down, you're free. You don't have that weight to carry around. But there are two ways that this could go, because there's a rootlessness vibe to this as well. So if you're tuned in to this reading with that sense, if that is something that resonates, the rootlessness, then releasing anchor could very well be a message to you to sort of settle, to release whatever it is that is heavy, in order for you to actually be able to set anchor and find your ground, find your space in all of this, to settle. Now we have the Fool here, and that is always a very, very beautiful card for the most part. The Fool has this explorer energy. These are the new beginnings. This is the new territory. You don't know what's coming. You have absolutely, no um, expectations whatsoever, but you have faith that it's going to be okay eventually. And with these cards, and with that message of letting go, I'm actually feeling like that once you release what it is that has to be released, I really do feel like it's gonna feel for you as if there is a completely new chapter of your life opening up. Because that's kind of the energy that lies in this. It's kind of this old pattern, something you've struggled with for a while, and release it, and then you're going to start building something that you didn't expect. You may have visions right now of how it's going to be once you're not carrying what you're carrying, but you don't yet know what it's like not to carry that burden. So once you do know what that's like, maybe there are other things that are going to present themselves. Oh my gosh, we do have a lot of new beginnings, don't we? A lot of ones. The wheel. I actually love this moon cycle here, and if you're into following the moon, I, I kind of want to say start by manifesting with the moon, in a sense. Start by looking into how to use the new moon for manifestation, how to work with the full moon in order to manifest something in your life. The wheel for me is kind of this spinning thing, and we're on it and we're spinning around, and at some point we jump off. There's some sort of, I'm not going to say insecurity because that has kind of a negative vibe to it, but there's some sort of unknown to the wheel. There's some sort of chance. But depending on how you place yourself on the wheel and how much you take control, I mean, there are many kinds of wheels. There's also the wheel that you're steering with, right? So you can let yourself be steered, or you can do the steering, right? The Caribbean calcite. When I think of a Caribbean calcite, the first thought that comes to me is optimism, because it has this kind of, holiday bluish ocean, Turkish ocean kind of vibe, hence probably the name. And there's some sort of optimism, some sort of inner emotional balance that comes with the Caribbean calcite. And maybe that balance just is not present in your life right now. Maybe that is what you need to let go. Well, let me phrase it differently. What is causing the imbalance, emotional imbalance, is what you need to let go. Do you know what's causing it? May you pursue what lights you up. Have you taken the time to actually consider what lights you up? And when I say that, I mean, are you following your dreams, or are you following the dreams of someone else? Or the expectations of someone else? Because there's this rootlessness. And when we're rootless, it's usually, well, not usually, but sometimes it's because we are too busy following the path of other people rather than following our own. And once we get to a point where we're actually having the opportunity to settle and to follow our own path, to make our own steering, then we're not really sure where to steer. Just like, I mean, if you're a parent and you never taught your child how to cook, then the day that it moves away from home, it's going to be absolutely, well, maybe not panic, but in some sort of harsher transition than it had to be, because suddenly it is faced with the fact that it doesn't even know how to feed itself, other than opening a bag of chips and stuff like that, like most of us know how to do. But, actually cooking, creating good meals, good, nourishing meals, you have to learn that. There's a skill to everything. And I'm feeling like the skills prioritized here is not, or haven't been, that much of your own, but rather than those of others. And you're actually at a point right now where, either now or upcoming, where you have the opportunity to tune into your own. What are your skills? What is the thing that you were put here to do? But you have to find them. You have to find them first. You have to release the cover of your eyes. You have to release that sense of trying to do good for others. Why am I picking? Well, I know why I'm picking up Silence of the Lambs, because it kind of reminds of that. Let me just put it up for you. It kind of reminds of that cover. Silence of the Lambs. The lambs, they follow. Lambs are being quiet. Told not to speak. It's hard to navigate if you can't ask for directions. It's hard to know how to steer if you can't ask whether or not you're supposed to turn right or left at the next stop. That is what needs to be released and put in the past. And there's going to be times where you fail, or should I say, mess up a little bit. Maybe you ask, I'm just using this as a metaphor, maybe you ask in an awkward way, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is that you start asking. Okay? The important thing is that you start learning how to navigate. Because only through that will you be absolutely firm about what lights you up. And I really do feel like and the funny thing is, this actually came as I was more or less drawing for your card, but hadn't yet put the intention out that it was for pile one. So it makes good sense that it would come out, even though I still feel like it belongs to all the readings. It makes good sense that it comes out specifically for you, because there is something that needs to get to the surface. Not because the surface is breaking and chaotic, but it needs to get to the surface, because when it gets to the surface, the waves will still. You'll be able to see which way to go. But I do feel like you are having the opportunity of a brand new beginning. And there's still this odd energy of confusion. And why are things not settling? Why is this not happening yet for me? But it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Get still, give yourself some time, give yourself some patience, some love, some self-care. And if we're going to be practical for a moment, put down 3 things that you think would light you up. And just, for a week or two, just work with that energy. And 3 things that you need to let go. And work with those energies as well. Try to identify them when they come up in your day-to-day lives. And how can you push them aside and replace them with the new energy? So that's just a little bit of a practical advice from here. My beautiful pile one, this was the reading. You're having a bit of work ahead of you, but it's a work of the invisible kind, a work within the heart, within the soul. Get still with yourself and be patient with yourself. And I hope that this reading gave you something. If it did, you probably already know the ways that you can support a channel, and I deeply appreciate it if you do. Um, but I'm just grateful that you're here and that I got to do this reading for you. It is a collective reading, so obviously not everything is gonna fit to a teeth for each and every one of you. But I do hope that you feel like you've gained some insight from this. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again in another reading. Bless you. Bye bye. Hi there, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. We have the Green Jade accompanying you together with the card Release. May you lay down your burdens. Let's just put it up here. And then we have the overall reading card saying, Joy, may you pursue what lights you up. So these are the center cards for your reading. May you lay down your burdens. And we're going to start with the Tower of the Abyss cards. May we get 4 cards for our pile 2, please. Oops, that one. Right. So let's see. You have the High Priestess. Look at the keys here. Yes. And then you have 10 of Pentacles. And then you have 6 of Pentacles. And you have... okay, the Queen of Swords. The reason why I'm laughing, if you've used the timestamps and went straight to this reading, then you're not going to know this. But I'm just going to say that in pile 1, we had this card at the exact same spot. So if you were in doubt whether or not to tune into pile 1 or 2, and you chose 2, then maybe, just maybe, there's a little something for you in pile 1 as well. I'm not going to tell you to go to pile 1, but if you feel like that could probably be a good idea, then jump to that reading after this one. So we have the High Priestess, the mother of the unconscious, the mother of, for me, the mother of everything spiritual. And we have the 10 of Pentacles, the abundance card, along with the 6 of Pentacles. That's kind of this, depending on how you see it, begging or charity kind of card. And then we have the Queen of Swords. I'm going to need to take a little time because I'm actually still having a bit of the Queen of Swords energy from the prior reading. So I'm just going to sort of clear my head a little bit. So for a moment, I'm going to pause the video and then I'm going to get straight back to you. Right. So just had to clear out because I don't want to linger in what message I gave in the other reading. That's not going to be helpful for this one. I actually want to shift the cards here because I do feel like there's a high connection between the High Priestess and the Queen of Swords. I'm going to tell you why in a little bit, and the Six of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles. Usually, these two are sort of kind of they're each other's opposites. Opposites may not be the right word per se, but I hope you're getting kind of where I'm getting at. The thing about this Ten of Pentacles, I'm going to pull it up for you here. Usually the Ten of Pentacles is kind of like this, family, city, dog, major kind of abundance. This one, I want to say it takes a village. I want to say there's some sort of confusion. I'm seeing with this, I'm seeing a labyrinth. I'm seeing getting lost and yet being connected. I'm getting the word relationship into my head right now. I'm going to go with the relationship. Begging charity. Are you feeling like you're having to beg for something, like you're having to either beg or having to overextend yourself in a relationship? I'm not talking necessarily a romantic relationship. I'm not getting specific romantic relationship out of this. May you lay down your burdens. I'm more inclined actually to say it's a little bit more work related. Obviously, if you tuned in and you're completely resonating with the romantic relationship, then for you that would be the truth. But the overall energy I'm getting is actually not about that. It's about something more. Distance is a wrong word, but in sort of the friendship realm, colleague realm, work kind of thing, you have in a sense been overextending your hand too much. You've put up with too much. I'm getting in. I think you know this. I actually think you know this. I think for a while now, and again with the major arcana, I'm actually thinking that it's not the first time you've done so, but you've become better at actually acknowledging it. You do know what's going on. You do know that you are actually putting out a lot more than you're taking in. Or you do know that you're having to beg for something that you more or less would expect not to beg for. So in that sense, you're actually seeing things quite clearly. Excuse me as I'm moving about on my chair here. You're actually seeing things quite clearly. But don't just look out, also look in. Okay? Look into yourself. What is it that creates that kind of situation? The Queen of Swords here is kind of like, yes, she's sort of, introverted, thinking. I want to say looking with her third eye. But she's also facing forwards. She's preparing. She's getting ready. Reaching out. But look within as well, because there are keys. There are keys here. Let me just put it up for you. There are keys to the doors. We have the yin and yang. I'm getting two sides to a story here. Two sides. I'm feeling like this is a situation where you're not really feeling validated. Or you're not really feeling like you're being acknowledged in whatever sense and aspect and situation that may be in your life. That creates that kind of burden upon you, because when we're not being acknowledged for, say, who we are, or acknowledged for a job well done, whatever it is, then it can kind of backlash introvertedly into a, oh, does that mean that it wasn't good enough? Does that mean that what I did was wrong? And that's really the thoughts playing a trick on our heads, because that is something in the subconscious that is triggering us into thinking that it's because it was wrong, or we weren't good enough, or the job wasn't well done, or we made a mistake, stuff like that. Actually, nobody told us. Okay, so that's one side of the story, that is being very much aware that the thoughts aren't taking the control, and separating your assumptions from what is actually fact. Use your clarity, use your third eye, so to speak, because once you see the clarity, the facts, it's going to be much easier to decipher what it is that's going on here. And I also feel like that sort of labyrinth feeling is gonna strain itself out, and the bond getting stronger. So that means I'm getting some sort of confrontation is a hard word, but I'm gonna say some sort of sitting down to solve the problem. Because once you do that, once you open up, that very part of opening up can actually be the part that releases the burden, so to speak. So working yourself too hard, putting out too much compared to what you're getting in, but you're not getting anything in, period. I'm just getting, maybe there's something to the story that you can't see yet. And it's okay to say. I mean, if this is your friend or your boss, then it's okay to say, you know what, I actually did that for you the other day, and you didn't really say thank you, or tell me that, whether you like the result or not, um, I would kind of appreciate some sort of feedback on what I did. In whatever words that sort of is natural for you to use. And sometimes you're dealing with someone who's a word that I'm not going to say here. But sometimes, and that's actually the majority of the times, when that happens to us, we're actually dealing with someone who were in their own sort of storm in their life, and they were just simply too preoccupied to actually meet the expectation. And a good, honest, open, caring, empathetic conversation can solve that. And that's going to help with the clarity. It's going to help with the figuring out the labyrinth. What is up? What is down? What is in? What is out? You know? And I feel like clarity right now, or should I say the lack thereof, is actually the main part of your burden. Yay, we're back. See, that's the funny thing about doing videos like this. When you don't check the memory left on your phone, then suddenly the video just shuts down. Anyway, um, I don't really remember what I was saying because I got all confused about the technical issues. Um, I believe I was in some sort of way referring to how these cards tended to be a little bit more positive and these tended to be a little bit more, difficult. I'm getting some sort of cutting through here. The Ten of Voices, and the funny thing is, again with the pile one here, the funny thing is that at this exact place was another card that kind of resembles something, letting go and new dawnish kind of thing. This is a card of cutting through. This is a card of simply, utterly, completely releasing the thing that no longer serves you. And we have the page right after, which means that there's some sort of progress. There's some sort of natural, like, okay, so we're letting this go. Right. What now? What are we working with from now on? And I'm actually feeling like it's kind of related to that sort of communication. That way of speaking your mind, actually letting someone know what you feel like and what you've been missing. And I'm getting this odd feeling like it's gonna give you some knowledge to actually work with. And sort of this feeling like, okay, well, now that's settled. Now I know what it is that I'm dealing with here. I know what I can expect. So, how do we proceed from here? How do we go on? Let me just adjust that a little bit. There we go. I'm feeling like knowledge is key, and it's gonna come in. Well, obviously, it can be in one conversation, but I'm kind of feeling like there are multiple stops towards the end goal. Like, it's a little bit deeper than one may expect. May you pursue what lights you up. I'm getting this odd feeling that once sometimes I'm getting scenarios in my head and I kind of have to try and translate them into words. I'm getting this odd feeling of once, what's it called, rapport is being established, once the cards have been laid on the table, no pun intended. I feel like that is going to open up to something that is actually going to be part of the planning, the further process. Something that is like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know that about you. Well, I didn't know this about you. Oh, wow, well, maybe we have something in common here. Can we work with that? There's some sort of new aspect that, I mean, it can be terrifying to have that sort of conversation, can't it? But sometimes having that conversation actually sparks something completely new and something that you can't even imagine where you're at right now. Or maybe you can, I don't know. But it's sort of this, if I'm staying true to the image in my head, then it's this image of two people meeting up, having a good talk, and then figuring out things about each other that can actually connect, that can make the roots go stronger. May you lay down your burdens. There's absolutely no reasons to carry them because maybe someone can carry them with you, at least to a sense. Okay, another image. The jade. The jade has this. When I work with chakras, I typically go by the color system. And green is the color of the heart, but as you can see, this is not, any kind of green. This is a very light, subtle kind of sorbet ice cream kind of green. So there's this sort of tender, caring energy to it. And the reason why I'm saying that, may you lay down your burdens, is a sort of release of something. It's not only about that conversation, it's also, I think I mentioned it before actually, it's also about looking within. Because there are things within you that are being triggered. Triggered is kind of this uh, word that's been used far too much and sort of have a negative connotation, but there's something in you. Let's use awoken. There's something in you that's been woken up, waking up, woken up. I don't know. Um, that's become aware, stirred up in this process of whatever it is that's been, I want to say, rubbing you the wrong way, creating this sort of labyrinth. There's something inside, something that you're carrying with you that's left you or been contributing to the labyrinth kind of feeling. May you lay down your burdens, I feel, talk about this specific card actually. Um, Talking about, because this is not the first time you're in a situation similar to this. So make sure that while you lay the cards on your table in terms of the actual issue at hand, then also make sure to look within and acknowledge, at the very least within yourself, what it is that, what your part of the matter is, because we always have a part. Whenever we're talking relationship, there's always minimum two. Okay, so, and that's not, to say who's guilty, who's not, because it's not about that. It's about a dynamic. And to really lay down your burden, you have to be aware of your own dynamic. And why I'm picking that one up and saying tenderness and that subtle kind of heart energy is because sometimes if there is a specific problem and there's someone else involved, we can kind of, within our insecurities, we can kind of end up saying things a little bit more harsh than we actually mean them or that we intend it to. So I want to say use that tenderness for the problem solving, but also for yourself. And if you haven't got a green jade in your crystal collection, I'm definitely going to say get one because, well, I'm biased, but I really do. I love mine. It's so smooth and so silky and just, this lovely, lovely energy. Anyway, that's a little sidetrack. So, my beautiful souls, there is a knowledge here that is needed to be found. And it's absolutely doable. That I'm not seeing like this big, conflict, this big wall stopping you. Although it can feel like it, I mean, having the courage to actually take up and deal with a specific problem, especially if it includes involving someone else or talking to someone else, it can feel like a bit of a wall. But I think you're going to realize that the problem is a lot more easy solved than you may expect it to be. Give yourself the benefit and the gift of also looking within, taking a step back, taking some time, to yourself, and actually ponder a little bit about what it is that emotion that you're having right now, where does it start? Because it didn't start with the labyrinth. It started, or I want to say, what started the labyrinth? Well, that was, this happening. Well, what started that? Go back. Because I think you're going to realize that it's not the first time you've been in a dilemma like this. And it's probably felt, very difficult every time. But it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. I mean, whether this is about learning to say no, in my day job, I've just, done the technical part of creating an online course. And I want to emphasize the technical part, not the the course itself. It can be letting go, it can be stating your opinion, it can be any number of things, actually. Whatever it is, it puts you in situations throughout your life, or at least for quite some time, that are similar, where you're dealing with the same emotions, and those emotions are being awakened by something that you're carrying with you and that you're not quite letting go yet. But cut through, because a new dawn is coming and you need to sort of empty the bags and make sure that your bags are filled with the things that you need for the new adventures coming. I do feel like it may be a little bit of a hard work, especially if it's something that's, been sitting with you for quite some time. It can take some extra hard work to actually work with issues that are not, straightforward, but it is absolutely worth your while. Yes. Pile 2, may you lay down your burdens in the most tender, loving, and caring way. Thank you so much for watching this. This was your reading for today, and I'm sure you know all the ways to, like, subscribe. If this resonated with you, then, please give a thumbs up or anything like that. Whatever help you can give back, I'm going to be very grateful. I am definitely very grateful for the fact that you've sat with me and let me read for you. And yeah, thank you for being here. All the best of luck with what it is you're pursuing. And remember, some burdens are not yours to carry. Okay? Bless your heart. Bye. Hello, my lovely pile freeze. Welcome to your reading, and you have chosen the blue calcite or the card enough. May you be exactly as you are. Now that's a beautiful card to choose. The first thing I'm getting is no man is an island. And that means I'm already getting some other things in, like no man is an island, so yes, be exactly as you are, but don't cut off. But I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to move too fast here. There we go. So we're starting with the more subconscious, more emotional, below the surface kind of thing. So your first card is Ten of Swords. Man, we're having a lot of cards repeating themselves today. Then we have the Empress. We have the Death card. No way. And we have the Ten of Pentacles. Listen, usually in that situation, I would say that if you were attracted to that pile, then choose this. But the funny thing is here, I'm actually sorry I didn't know that in pile two, but there's a reason for everything. The funny thing is that in pile two, that position was exactly the same as in pile one, the same card. Then I switched some cards, and the Ten of Pentacles was in pile two as well, but where I shifted Ten of Pentacles to was this spot. And now I'm drawing Ten of Pentacles at this particular spot. So, yeah. Anywho, um, gosh, I'm seeing a lot of synchronicities here. We have 10, 10, 10. We have 3 and 3. Um, listen, what I want to say and what's coming to mind right now is you cannot please everyone. You just can't. However hard a human being tries, there's always going to be, even the kindest of hearts is going to have some people sooner or later coming up to them saying that, they don't think that they're nice or worth very much or whatever they choose to say. And I'm not feeling like you're very kind to yourself. I want to say release that harsh look you give yourself in the mirror. Release those words that you keep telling yourself, that you keep beating yourself over the head with. Release that. Because you are so filled with life. You just don't see it. You really just don't see it. We have the Empress, the kind of the I don't know what the English word is called, but let's call it the life card. Usually the Empress is, I think you can kind of see the belly here as well. It looks a little bit, she could be pregnant. It is sort of this pregnancy card, life card, abundance card. And so is the Ten of Pentacles. Now, as I said before, there are synchronicities across the entire palette of piles. So if you were drawn to any of the other piles, then, there may be something for you. I'd say the connection is biggest within pile 2, but this particular spot just keeps repeating, so to speak. Not with the same card, but, well, if you open, the beginning of each reading, you'll know what I mean. Don't be so harsh on yourself. I'm suddenly noticing this man. Is someone's coming to your aid, but are they just watching you? Are they just standing there? Oh. This is not going for all of you, but I'm sort of having this bully situation. I'm so sorry for that. Someone's watching you suffer and they're not doing anything. I mean, they're sort of approaching you, but it's not like they're rushing. It's not like they're reaching out a hand. They're hesitant. And it's not about you. It's about them. It's about something that they're feeling. It's about something that they are insecure about. But gosh, look at this death card. Look at how all the sparkles within her cape, all that birthing of abundance. So, yeah, whatever it is that you're telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you're not pretty enough, you're not nice enough, you're not clever enough, you're not smart enough, you're not, whatever it is that you're telling yourself, let it go. And that is so much easier said than done. I know that. But I'm going to ask you to try anyway. Because those voices within your head is actually blinding you or deafening you from your actual truth. And that is the fact that you have so much to give. And I want to say, gosh, I'm getting a little bit emotional actually. You have so much to give, and the world needs you to give it. And I'm not saying that to put stress on you. I'm not saying that to rush you, because do you in your own time. I'm just saying that you have gifts, and it can be a gift of kindness. It can be a gift of patience. It doesn't have to be, spiritual gift. It can be. We all have that ability. But there is something that you are innately gifted with. And you are so much more than you let yourself believe. So much more than you tell yourself. I keep getting the word self-deprecating. Keep getting that word. I'm kind of seeing this person in front of the mirror, just, dead staring themselves, and just, this heavy, heavy, heavy darkness to it. I'm so sorry that that is even the case. And I'm getting it so clearly that I'm going to say that if that doesn't resonate with you, then it's one of the other readings for you, because this is the imagery coming to my mind is pretty clear, actually. I'm finding myself rubbing my eyes. For some of you, the way to beat yourself over the head is more visual than it is, with words inside your head. It's more in front of the mirror. For some of you, that will be the case. That this is about almost a sort of body dysmorphic kind of feeling. But you are exactly the way that you're supposed to be. You just simply are. Because what you are puts you in a situation that is much needed in this world, on this planet, in this present time. Again, I'm not saying that to rush you, because some things can't be rushed, and this particularly can't. I am saying it because I would like you to start slowly accepting the fact that there are other truths to you than this. That there are a deeper truth to you that is profoundly beautiful. Okay? I want you to start getting used to the thought and idea that the voices in your head is something that is actually possible to let go. And you may already be there, but for some of you, this is kind of a new thought because you've been used to it for so long. So get used to the idea that those harsh words that you're telling yourself, there's another truth. And when you start silencing the words in your head, you're going to be more able to actually see the truth, to see your own abundance in the treasure that you are. May you be exactly as you are. You don't really need to change anything other than setting aside voices and views that I feel have been put onto you by someone not up for your best interest. Let them go. Release them. We're going to dig into the other side of your reading. Yes. Okay. Oh, we have two. Brilliant. So we're going to dig into the other side of your reading. And what we want here is some solace, some confirmation, some guidance, whatever the universe is willing to offer us. Oh, okay. Just pull that back. I'm not done. Let's just put this. Where can we see? We can put it down here, then you can see it. There we go. Okay, so your first four. You're actually the only pile that has gotten an extra fifth card. Excuse me for a bit. Just had to rearrange my feet. They're getting sleepy. You're the first one to get actually 5 cards from this deck. I don't know why, but I just felt like I wasn't done and there was a specific card that just was sitting there. So we'll see where it takes us. So, guidance, Ace of Voices. Look at the owl. Messenger. Actually, it's a crow that's a messenger. But again with the synchronicities. Okay, so I mentioned a little bit about the pile 2 before. This is this was drawn in pile 2. So if that kind of pulled you in as well, then pile 2 may very well be for you as well. We have the world, the cosmos. Wow, look at that. And we have the 5 of emotions. Yes, that was the one that flipped on its own. It's funny that this card is called Ace of Voices because I actually want to say start feeding your mind new voices. You know, maybe tap into. There are different authors out there that works with, words of manifestation. You can find them on streaming media as well. You can find them on YouTube as well. That may not be a particular bad way to go. And that is my way of saying I think you should try it out. Try to program your mind with a new set of voices rather than saying, "Oh, I look ugly today." Then maybe start saying, I mean, for some, it can be quite a big step to say, "I'm beautiful." But, then start slowly saying, "I'm pleased with how I look," or "Today I'm looking the best that I can." I get that in traditional manifestation, you would go for what I just want to call the high ground, the absolute goal. Say, "Oh, but I'm beautiful. I'm the most beautiful person in the world." But if you're used to talking yourself down, then that can so much feel like a lie that the new words simply don't hold or take hold. So maybe start somewhere else, find a middle ground, find something that you can say that kind of pushes your comfort zone a little bit, but not so much that you're feeling like you're blatantly lying to yourself. Because the thing about comfort zones, again, it's about taking the time. But comfort zones can be pushed. And when you get used to that, that's your new comfort zone. And you can push it again. And I guarantee you, if you do that one day, you are actually going to look yourself in the mirror and say, "Hell yeah, I'm beautiful today." You know, that is kind of the progress. It can be a shorter journey, it can be a long journey. The time doesn't really matter. It's progress that actually matters. It's putting in the work and putting in, I want to say, the self care to actually do it. And that can be hard when you've consistently told yourself that you're not worth that. But it is about putting in the effort. It can be hard work. It is habits, it's practices that has to be done all over again. Maybe even create it from scratch. And that takes something, that takes some backbone, it takes courage, it takes hard labor, it takes sometimes doing that new thing, even though, oh gosh, today I'm just so tired. You do it anyway, okay? I don't think I have ever met a tarot deck, with the world being a bad thing. Now, excuse me for a moment, I'm just getting a little coffee. I don't think, excuse me, I don't think I ever met a world card that did not have this extremely beautiful energy, and rightfully so, because the world card is a very beautiful card. But the funny thing is, and most people forget about that, the world card is actually also a sort of ending. But it's an ending for level 2.0. So it's what I'm seeing here is that following these, I mean, it can be manifestation, it can be other ways of improving what's going on over here. But when you consistently work with that, when you really put in the labor to do that, speaking of labor with the Empress, you are actually creating you 2.0. I mean, where you're at now can be you 1.0, but you're going to you 2.0, or 3 or 4. The point is that you're leveling up. And that's not to say, because this is an ending, but it's also a new beginning. That's not to say that you're not going to find yourself finding some new things to work on that you can change voices to. And this is actually, it's kind of, it just strikes me. It's what's the word? It is the very essence of a spiritual journey. That is to find something new, work hard on it, level up, start over. Work with it, level up, start over. And the funny thing about it, no, it's not funny actually, it's very much not funny, but in a spiritual journey, I mean, lots of people talk about love and light and all of that, but there's always at least one dark night of the soul. And in most cases, there are several, because usually there is a dark night of the soul every time you're on, in the area where you're starting to level up, where you're really starting to shed the skin. When I can't remember if it's a crab or a spider, but when shell animals, and there may be exceptions, so don't, come after me if there are exceptions, but there's a shell animal, I believe it's a crab, that once it's molted, then it's going to hide for a while because the new shell is super soft. So it's extremely vulnerable. And this is actually the dark night of the soul kind of vibe. It's that, okay, well, I just shedded what's not good for me. And I'm actually in my new dressing, but gosh, everything is just so sharp and so cold and so, the light is sort of blinding and all of that. Okay, it's so odd that I keep getting interrupted, but I want to say that I got interrupted in pile two as well. So again, any sense of connecting with pile two, this may very well be your last your last reminder. What I want to say is that it's kind of this your soul messaging with your body, so to speak, with your physical realm. So this is sort of a path of journeys. This is a path of a spiritual journey where you're constantly evolving. And you may be at a point right now where you're like, oh no, but I can't do spiritual at all. Well, you're watching this, aren't you? You may be in a point where you're like, there's nothing good about me at all. Well, if nothing good was about you, you would not have tried to reach out through this video. So, again, allow yourself to see the gift you actually have. Hmm. We have the hermit here, and I actually think it's quite fitting that you would get the hermit as your fifth card, because what this takes, especially if you're having dark nights of the soul, or just lower days, dark nights of the soul are quite quite big, but it can just be periods where you're not really feeling at your best. When that happens, make sure that you allow yourself to retreat. Make sure that you allow yourself to get still. Because when we're at that point where we're not really feeling too well, or we're kind of feeling like it's overwhelming and like, oh gosh, am I back at the start again? No, you're not. You're back at 2.0 start again, and then 3.0 start again. But it can sometimes feel a little bit like, oh, but everything was just doing so well, and now I'm still, and what's going on? Take the time to be still, because when you're at that, oh no, what's happening? It's kind of hard to see the light. It's kind of hard to Look past the immediate sensation of life being a struggle. So take the time, retreat, and be still with what you have, and then build those new voices. And I want to finish with this one. Joy, may you pursue what lights you up. And it may be hard to find right now, or maybe there's a part of you that's going to be like, oh, but that's not never ever going to happen to me. I feel like that journey that you're starting on right now, or maybe you've already been at it for a while, but that journey you're on, you are going to reach a point, I believe, where you are actually finding and living what lights you up, because that is what this journey is about. That is what happens when you feed yourself new and better voices. And when you work with those voices and you don't back down, you don't let the old voices win, you keep feeding the new ones in order to create your new beginnings. The more you do that, the more turns you take in this wheel, the more aware and the more deserving you will feel of that light, what it is that lights you up, what it is that's your dream. But just remember, and I actually think maybe you're a little bit busy with, trying to fix other people or something like that, but I think this Hermit card is pretty important. It's a pretty good reminder that, it's okay to take time. So maybe this is coming up because you're not really usually good at taking time for yourself. But this is the message that it's okay. It's actually what you should do. So I'm just gonna hold it here for a second. I know that sometimes, people shouldn't screenshot videos and stuff like that. But I'm just gonna hold it here. And if you want it as a reminding image on your phone, just take the screenshot. Because this is going to be a gift. The retreat is going to reward you with so much. I'm just going to put it down here. My beautiful pile threes, you, whatever level, point, something you are at right now, I just want to say, first of all, I'm so sorry that this is even something that we're talking about. It's not your fault. It never was your fault, and it never can be your fault. You may be at a place right now where you know this, but in case you don't, it's not your fault. And I'm sorry that this happened to you. But there are a side to you. There are a creature within you, I want to say, that is absolutely beautiful. And you have so much to offer to not only the world, but also to yourself. So take care of the new voices. Feed yourself. Don't overrush it. Don't stress. Take it in your pace. But welcome in those new voices one by one and just witness what magic they can do. Beautiful souls, that was all for now. Thank you so much for watching this and joining me in this reading. I want to say, whenever, well, not whenever, but if you have felt this resonated and you felt like this reading was something that you could use, consider liking, subscribing, all of that, because well, it goes a long way for a small channel, to be honest. So, in whatever way you can help, I much appreciate it. But just you being here watching this is something that I'm deeply grateful for, and yeah, I'm blessed to be doing your reading. And if you have any stories to share about this, please do. So, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again in another reading. Bye.